Hi, welcome back to the Master Jeff YouTube channel, and in week 2 of stage 3 lockdown 2.0. Masks are the thing, but no mask today, just so you can see how the isolation beard is coming along. About to go into the 3-course cooking challenge, French cooking challenge, in raising some money for breast cancer research. And we're going to start with French onion soup. The recipe will be on the Master Jeff Facebook page, and you can follow along the instructions with this video. And so all the best, pretty simple recipe, enjoy your cooking, and we'll see you soon. So the ingredients for the French onion soup, obviously onions, usually brown onions, but I'm going to put a couple of red onions in as well, a little bit sweeter. Garlic, of course, has to be. Butter, some beef stock, and I'm just going to buy some beef stock rather than make it. A little bit of brown sugar and some plain flour, and then some bread, a baguette, that goes on top of the soup when it's finished. Again, I'm using my slicer just to get the onions nice and thin, but I'm going to get a little bit of a chop up after this. Again, just be really careful with your slices, no fingers sliced. So there's all my onion sliced up, and I'm going to give it a bit of a chop through, sticking with my usual cooking of being rustic. I'll put a couple of cloves of garlic in as well. What would French cooking be without garlic and butter? So into the saucepan, a nice thick saucepan, 60 grams of butter, and I'm going to just add a little bit of oil, and we get that sizzling up to cook the onions. Okay, so we've got a nice sizzle going with the butter and oil, and just slowly add in the onions. Give them a nice stir, and we're going to cook those until they're really soft. The recipe actually says 45 to 50 minutes, which seems a long time, but just cook them until they're nice and soft. Make sure they're all nicely getting into that butter. Okay, so the onions are getting nice and soft now. Add a teaspoon of salt in. Keep stirring, keep cooking till they're really softening up. Beautiful smell. So onions now are actually looking quite creamy. They're very soft. It's certainly not 45 minutes of cooking for me, but see how you go. You can make them softer if you want to. And then it's adding in brown sugar, 2 teaspoons, and this is cooking for another 10 minutes until the onions caramelise, so coated with the sugar. So the onions now caramelise with the sugar. You've got to stay with it and keep stirring, about 5 minutes or so, and then we're adding in plain flour, 2 tablespoons, and just cook that for another couple of minutes. I'll just thicken it up a little bit. Make sure all the flour's combined into the onions. So the flour's all now combined, and we're adding in our beef stock, 4 cups. and 2 cups of water. Give that a stir around, and then we want to just bring that up to a simmer. Let it simmer slowly for about 15 minutes so all the flavours can combine. So the soup's simmering nicely now. Give it an occasional stir. We're just going to leave that for about 15 minutes, and while we're doing that, we'll get the bread ready for the croutons that are going to sit on top of the soup when we serve it. So while the soup is simmering away, we're going to get the bread ready. It sits on top, so cut it on an angle. You choose how thick you like. And this is going to sit in your plate on the soup. So depending on the size of the plate, you might just want one in there. If you're using a bowl, just one, or perhaps cutting a smaller piece at the end. Have a couple sitting in the bowl. Up to you. I'm going to spread that with butter. Lightly grill it in the pan. Once it's grilled, I'm going to rub it with some garlic, and then we're going to put it in a tray with some cheese on top and just bake that in the oven to melt the cheese. Cheese of your choice. So we've got just a lightly oiled pan or grill, and just going to put our bread in to toast lightly. Each side. When that's done, we'll spread it with butter and rub it with garlic. Then we'll have it in a tray with some cheese just to melt in the oven. So our croutons are lightly toasted. Just going to spread these with garlic, give them a rub while they're still nice and warm. Do both sides. These will be beautiful. Lovely flavour. Then just spread them with some butter. Let that melt on there. French cooking is not for you if you're not a fan of butter. And then cheese of your choice, just sprinkle on top, and when you think your soup's ready, just pop those in the oven for the cheese to melt, and we're ready to serve. So our croutons are ready. Cheese is melted on top. If you wanted to, I guess you could put them under the griller and just brown them up a little bit. And we've got the soup. It's been simmering, and all we do now is just pop the crouton in the top of the soup, and we're ready to serve French onion soup. There we go, that's French onion soup, course 1 for the 3-course challenge. And if you're following along for the competition, that's on in August. It's August 2020, in case you're watching this later. Still in lockdown, plenty of time to do some cooking and enjoy some great food. I hope you will join me for the challenge and perhaps cook along with me August the 16th at 1:30. But French onion soup is course 1. Enjoy your cooking, enjoy your first course. Bon appetit.